Check me out.
Yeah. Hey, podcast listening people, welcome to the Mile High Mentors podcast. As always, your host here, Connor Dube. Really appreciate you tuning in wherever you're listening. Do not forget to subscribe, leave a review. If you find us on social media, give us a shout too. Nice little rhyme there. Give us a shout. Really, we love to hear from you guys. We really appreciate it. We're super humbled that you're paying attention, you're listening. We're here to bring you the top information, insights, resources, tips, tricks, tools of the trade from the incredible ecosystem of leaders, mentors, influencers, business people here in the state of Colorado. So again, guys, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. I'm very excited for today's episode, if you cannot tell. By the way, we are actively always looking for partners, sponsors, people that want to collaborate with the show. We'd love to find some ways to help promote and grow a local Colorado-based business or organization. And so if there's some ways that we can partner up, if it's something that you're interested in and you'd like to find out and talk about some ideas and strategies that we have to do that together, send us an email, milehighmentors@gmail.com. Again, that's milehighmentors@gmail.com. And of course, as always, you can just send us a DM. Go slide on into the DMs, as the kids say, and you can send us a message there. Also, if you sell products and services business to business, you probably realize that LinkedIn is a really, really good place to be. A lot of people don't start there. And I'm a young millennial dude, but I've really seen the value of LinkedIn. LinkedIn's really impacted our own business. And so our partners over at Active Blogs are putting on a webinar called The Missing Links to LinkedIn Success. You can go give it a watch. It'll give you the 7-step process to successful social selling on LinkedIn. That's at activeblogs.com/webinar. Again, activeblogs.com/webinar, and you can watch The Missing Links to LinkedIn Success. Okay, today's show. These are my absolute favorite. Julius Hinton, the co-producer over here, and I get to sit down and talk and share what's been going on for give you guys some updates. Like, we're doing this. We're literally taking everything we're learning ourselves from guests and treating this like a business and growing it as such. And so every 10 or so episodes, we sit down, we do the podcast behind the podcast, and that's what we're doing today. I think this is podcast behind the podcast number 3. So Julius and I get to sit down in the studio, share much more what I love to do, behind the scenes, fun stuff that you guys, may not normally get. And so some great insights, some updates on what's going on in our world. So without further ado, please welcome Julius and I guess, to the Mile High Mentors podcast, behind the podcast. Boom! Are we live here?
We are rolling.
I think we're
rolling there.
GTG here. On this kind of, man, we need to get like a secondary cell phone here for this Facebook. Look how bad this camera is.
I know.
It's
Which
so
one is
laggy.
that going to?
This is going to just Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Hey,
it is what it
guys.
is. Facebook. Hey, Instagram, guys. Hope you're doing
Hey!
well. I think we're good. I think
My
we're
guys.
live. We are.
Okay.
We're sitting down, and this is good.
That's
This is rolling?
good. We'll be on YouTube live here in a couple seconds.
We are.
Okay, we're
tripping
good
out there.
Yeah, some feedback.
Yeah, so we're here doing the podcast, behind the podcast, my favorite episode that we do.
Episode 3, yeah.
Episode 3, where...
Episode 30, technically. Excuse us.
Episode 31, technically. because Katie was 30.
True.
So I guess we're even one behind on doing that. But every 10 episodes, Mr. Hinton and I get to sit down and reflect, meditate on the last few episodes and just talk what's going on with life and,
catch up.
You're a dad now.
Yeah, that's what's been going on in my life from since episode 20 to 31 now. I've had a child. My little guy, Julius James Hinton, was born on April 6th. So just kudos to Connor, because Connor's really just been carrying the flag for the brand, for the show, for just all the content. He's really just took a lot of the weight off my shoulders, because I've had new weight on my shoulders, as you know. So just kudos to you, man, for holding us down on that. That's been amazing, man, because like I said, it's not easy having a kid, as some of you guys know with kids, but it's been a blessing. But getting back to the content, man, the shows that you have produced since 20 to 31, I think we've kind of jumped another level, guys, as far as the people that we're reaching, as far as the content that you're really, engaging with. Even when it comes to the content that we put out on social media, I feel like that's kind of elevated a little bit.
That's the key, man.
Video form and stuff.
Just getting better and better as we hone in on our craft. What's cool about this podcast is it's really the people that we interview. You and I literally get to take these concepts and the insights that we're getting from these guests and just life and implementing them to this show. So getting better, treating this like a business, like all that stuff. It's been fun, man. Like
bouncing those ideas.
Yeah, like every time we publish a new episode, we're just that one step closer. And so I'm looking at we've got our whole list here of episodes from 20 to 30.
Perfect.
Okay, so what are the biggest things about being a dad that you didn't think about as being a dad? Was it what you expected?
It was. Like, I knew this little guy was just going to throw me off of my axis. You know what I mean? As far as like, you guys are, you're kind of like-minded. So you have a set plan for the day. You know what you're going to do. Hey, I can get to this evening. He throws all of that off. I walk in the house and I don't know what I'm doing next. Before I get my shoes off, it's like, oh, diaper, medicine, this, that, that kind of stuff I'm just adjusting to, just trying to get myself together as far as getting back on track and getting back on my axis. But I'm slowly feeling my planets align again. Yeah. So that's cool.
You're getting into the swing of things after a while.
Yeah, because it was definitely challenging, and it's fun though, man. It's fun. I definitely encourage anybody who hasn't had kids to have them.
No, don't. No.
Just at a right age.
What if okay, there we go. The clarification helps.
When you find the right person, all of those things have to matter. Because I couldn't do it without my girl, Kel. Kelly, you are amazing. If you watch this podcast or listen to this at all, thank you.
Hopefully they come in. We might have the kiddo drop in here, which will be really exciting.
I just got a text. I think they're headed this way.
Oh, I'm so excited.
But, dude, here's what's so crazy, and this is why, like, when I'm going out live on the Instagram page or whatever we're doing, I'm such an advocate of, like, I'm big into social media, obviously. Grew up around it. My business revolves around social media. This podcast revolves around social media.
Right.
But at some point, you have to get your ass offline and just go meet with people, like do the face-to-face thing. Because, you can create relationships and start relationships online, but it doesn't mean anything. So, like, it can lead to things, but, like, there's a huge difference, which is why I like doing this podcast in person, because there's a difference when we have the guests in the room, we have that energy going, we get different content that way.
It's a real difference, yeah.
But anyways, where I was going, like, this whole roundabout thing, where I was going with this is, and by the way, guys, this is kind of laggy on Facebook, so if you want to watch live on our Mile High Mentors Instagram page, we're live there as well, and on YouTube, which we got to build the YouTube up at some point.
Yeah.
But, so Frankie V, okay, I met this guy named Calvin Wayman on Instagram.
Okay.
Who's like an influencer, he's a speaker, he's the author of book. He's the author of the book Fish Out of Water.
Okay.
Which I'd recommend. It's a great book. And I DM'd him on Instagram just out of the blue. I was like, hey, man, I like what you're doing. Would love to connect sometime. This was back, like, probably early last year.
Wow.
So
you had to nurture that relationship.
Well, so here's where I'm going, is that I talked with Calvin on the phone, and we hit it off. He's like, hey, dude, I'm going to a conference in Utah to see Gary Vaynerchuk speak.
Okay.
Remember when I went to that?
Yeah.
So I literally went to Utah to go to this conference just to meet this dude. And we hit it off. Great relationship. Like, we still communicate here and there. Calvin, shout out if you're ever listening to this. And
wow.
And so, like, because of Calvin, I was introduced to Frankie V.
Frankie knows Calvin then.
Frankie knows Calvin.
Okay.
I don't know if Frankie's a client of Calvin or vice versa or whatever, but they know each other. So I came across Frankie on Facebook. I'm like, hey, I see you're in Colorado. You're doing all this influencer stuff, and you're focused on, like, a three-dimensional men, health, wealth, relationships. Yeah. His podcast was great, by the way. Like, that kid is 26, maybe 27. He did $40 million in sales, which is just badass. Okay, so on this whole like freaking loop. I'm sorry this is so roundabout.
No,
but,
it's all good. Behind the podcast.
But the story is great. Again, we connected. We had Frankie on the podcast. Okay,
right.
He introduced me to a group that he has here in Denver called Denver Elite Men.
Yeah.
Where him and David, who also we definitely got to get on the podcast. Again, it's just helping men become better leaders and focusing on becoming a three-dimensional businessman. So, Nicholas Bayerly came through to speak at Denver Elite Men. Frankie was like, dude, you got to get this guy on your podcast. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we had Nicholas. Yeah. Which you listened to that one. You were like...
So now we're connecting all the dots here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you were... Yeah, so this should be pretty interesting for anyone listening to this. So that's just how deep this goes. So, like, okay, so I had Frankie on the podcast before he spoke in front of Denver Elite Men.
Okay.
But wait, there's more. So... Well, you had something there.
No, there's Nicholas there, I think.
Nicholas
spoke in front of Denver Elite Men.
Did I say Frankie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nicholas.
I got you right.
Nicholas spoke in front of Denver Elite Men. So, he's like, hey, we're putting on this conference, and Nicholas has this group called $1 Billion Body. Yeah. Okay. So, they put on this conference in San Diego, and I ended up going to the conference because Jay Abraham, who's a freaking marketing legend, was speaking there. And I'd never been to San Diego. And actually, Nina, who commented on here, we got to connect out there. She's coming out to Colorado here in a couple weeks.
Hi, Nina.
Hi, Nina. And so, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, how that one little, like, relationship that I went out of my way, miles, flew to a conference to meet a dude in person. And just took me down this path of, like, now I have all these amazing connections from $1 Billion Body and from Denver Elite Men. And, like, I'm going to meet up with some of those guys later on this afternoon at the Westward event that's going on. And it's like,
okay.
So, here's the lesson learned from this Frankie V's episode is, guys, like, you never know. People are like, what's the ROI of going out to a networking event? Or what's the ROI of just, like, going out and meeting people.
Talk about it, man.
You never fucking know what's going to occur of that.
This is only 10 episodes that you're talking about, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is not like he's talking about a whole year where he just took a shot on something. Said, hey, want to reach out to this guy, made a connection with somebody, and all of that happened. That's what we're trying to show people. Exactly what we're trying to show. This was
all within a 12-month period. And here's the coolest thing is I literally left that conference, $1 Billion Body.
Yeah.
And I implemented something into my business that Monday. I flew in at 12 p.m. on that Monday from San Diego. I got into my home office at 1 p.m. and I started building out a new product that's going to make me $50 million in the next 2.5 years.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Because you took that chance.
Yeah. I went out there. So
that's all it's about.
Yeah.
And there's great connections all around us, and it's just extending the olive branch. So much goes just for extending that olive branch. I I mean, you never know what's going to be on the other side. You never know what's the fruit on the other side of that labor. But you got to put in the labor first. And that's what you did by, creating those relationships.
Got to put in the work.
Got to put in the work, man.
What's one of those weird stories you've had like that, where like just had this like weird, you connect with someone and then it just leads to this like thing? Like, is there anything that you can really think of?
My whole life's built off a network. I mean, I only am who I am because of networks, like even with you. I mean, our story is well documented, so I don't even want to go into that one, but I'll talk about, just me and graffiti as far as Leonard, one of my other business partners I do a podcast with.
Shout out Life is Dope.
Life is Dope. Kind of the way we connected, I was doing radio, kind of how I got started. I was going to school for marketing. Jamal, my brother, was going to school for broadcasting. We put our heads together, came up with the show. That show snowballs into, 18 other shows because we're networking, talking to the other people about how they want to start a show, helping them get that launched off the ground. And one of those shows ended up being working with Graffiti, Leonard. And his show was called, what was the name of that damn show?
This was a show before Life is Dope?
Yeah, before Life is Dope. Before we even really connected. He was a co-host to another guy. I was a co-host to my show. But, we kind of saw something in each other and we started working together. And, that snowballed into Life is Dope, long story short. After about 4 years of kind of kicking things around and creating a show. But that just goes to show you with the network that you already build, you don't ever know who's inside of it. I had 18 other shows that I could have reached out to, but I reached out to that one guy, and that snowballed into another show, into what we're doing now.
Yeah, which is an amazing podcast, guys. Like, Life is Dope is very culture related.
Definitely.
We're doing more of the entrepreneur, the business side, and like Life
This is my
Dope
9 to 5
really,
podcast. Life is Dope is what I do on the
Saturday
weekend.
night podcast. Yeah, no, dude, they're an awesome group of guys. Like, I love Graffiti's like positivity that he spreads on Facebook. He's got good reach, and we got to get him to come on Mile High Mentors. Like, we got to cross-pollinate here at some point.
Yeah, seriously. And even with the guests that we have on, I mean, that kind of goes back to that networking. I think Delroy is a good... Delroy from Denver Gents is another good example that we could bring up. Somebody I've had on Life is Dope. I share some content. You like the content. We're really interested in, kind of the business side of what he was doing. Connor, how he does, took that another step further. And
I joined Denver Gents.
Yeah. So you took another step further and joined Denver Gents, and now you're actually engaging and doing the whole thing with those guys. But just to know all that kind of started with just a small conversation and a small, inbox conversation, same kind of thing. It shows what it could really do.
Yeah.
Small conversation me and Graffiti had with this guy turns into you joining Denver Gents and the relationships that you're going to build from there. All these things are all around you. It's kind of like the universe.
Yeah.
Everything's orbiting around you. You just kind of have to go out there and try to grab what you want. And when you do that, the universe will let you do it.
Things never occur the way that you think of them. Like, they never, I guess, formulatize in the way that you really envision.
Yeah.
But if you just start taking enough action, which every guest we've had, I hope this is streaming. Like, this is being kind of silly here.
This guy here?
This one up here, like, that's kind of weird. Anyways, every guest we've had, kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, something that's synergistic throughout. That's relevant throughout is like, no matter what the idea, what you're doing, your concept, your business, like, nothing matters unless you're actually taking action on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, literal action, though, like 2 steps in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Like last night alone, again, total testament. Like, I just connected up with my friend who he came into our high school in Fort Collins junior year, moved from out of state.
Okay.
Really heavy into real estate. I've been seeing him blow it up on social media. Wow. And so I just called him. I was like, hey, dude, let's connect. We never really got to connect super deeply in high school. Let's go grab a drink. I was just planning on grabbing a drink, going home last night. Yeah. And so we went to Death & Co., which is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Dude, you have to check it out. Yeah, Katie was telling us about it.
Okay, yeah.
So, no, it's a really cool spot. Like, it's brand new, but it's got this, like, gothic kind of, like, feel to it. And they have,
it's called
the top... Yeah. But it's from the New York, like a top martini or craft cocktail bar in New York, which any top magazine, craft cocktail magazine would point Death & Co. And so, anyway, so we went and grabbed a drink there last night, and he was like, hey, dude, I'm going to this black tie event later. Like, I'm leaving here in like an hour to go do this. You want to come with me? I can get you an extra ticket. $350 ticket, by the way, for that evening to go last night. $350 ticket. And this dude was so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful this dude just brought me in with his company who had a bunch of extra tickets, and I was able to go for free.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't planning on going to a black tie event last night, so
what did you wear?
I had a pink shirt on with like my I have this like polka dot sports coat that I love.
Okay.
Like it's not like flamboyantly polka dot, but like it's, you know, it stands out.
Yeah.
I had multiple people come up to me last night like, that's dope what you're wearing. And everyone, dude, I'm talking penguin suits. Like, you probably saw Delroy's Instagram post, maybe. Like, literally black tie, black suits, and I'm wearing fucking jeans and like a flamboyantly pink pocket square and like shirt and this polka dotted sports coat. So
awesome. Who's that guy? That's Connor Dube from Mile High Mentors.
So I stood out, but that alone, that reaching out to this dude who I haven't talked to, and I go to this event, and I have 20 new guest opportunities as a result of networking there.
Just that one opportunity.
Yeah. Wow. And schmoozing with some beautiful potential, you know, girlfriends, or maybe my future wife was there. Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Never know.
Miss Wyoming was really friendly. Okay, if you're ever listening to this, Miss Wyoming.
I miss Wyoming.
That was it was a good time, man. So yeah, again, it's so funny how life works.
Like I said, there's really no expectations. I think the one common theme, though, between all of our guests and really just what we're trying to show people is you got to be open-minded to new opportunities. You know, you really have to pursue them. That's what we're saying first and foremost. You have to pursue these new opportunities. They're not just going to fall out of the sky and the $1 million guy is going to say, hey, I want you to help me run my business. Here's a great job. No, it doesn't happen like that. That's sky. I mean, did it happen for you?
No.
Okay, I mean,
I've never had money.
Maybe it happened for one of you guys. Please let us know. We would love to interview and hear about this story. But
I literally just had money fall from the sky.
Bill Gates just flew his helicopter, landed in my yard, and said, hey, do you want a job? And I said, yes, and here I am. If you're that guy, please call us.
Beautiful.
We would love to talk about it. But no, you have to pursue these opportunities, and then you have to have an open mind about those opportunities as you're pursuing them, because you don't know where they're going to lead to. And if you try to put expectations or try to put roadmaps or even signs of what you're looking for, buying signs, or like you said, people looking for ROI, who's going to be there, you're not going to get what you want. Mm-hmm. That's just still doesn't work that way. You know, if you go there with an open mind, you go there with a smiling face, maybe a polka dot jacket, you can do something.
You stand out. Yeah, every I had a good thought, and it just kind of left my brain. Boop. Last night, boop, just went boop.
What did you drink last night?
I had a mix. Like, I just had some tequila at Death & Co. or at the which was open bar all night, by the way.
Oh wow!
So that's just dangerous in itself.
That is.
I feel great today. Like, I was able to sleep in, but I had a couple tequilas and tequila club soda. That's usually how I roll, guys.
That's the usual. Okay.
If you ever meet up, or you want to take me out for a drink, tequila club soda is how I roll.
You know, something I was thinking about doing, since you're bringing this all up.
A little bit of champagne.
Oh.
Yeah.
Black tie event. Those type of things.
Black
it's like
tie.
a Catalina wine mixer.
This event was literally
the Catalina wine mixer.
It was like the freaking Catalina wine mixer.
You guys have seen Step Brothers out there.
Yeah.
Catalina wine mixer.
I'm like taking pictures in BMWs, like all these beautiful cars, like these women just like all done up, and it was interesting. But they raised probably $1 million at that event for charity. It was all for charity. It was a charity-related event.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So speaking to my thing here, I want to throw an event with you guys. I want to go out there and meet more of our mentors. We just crossed 1,000 Instagram followers, and you guys there on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube here. We want to meet you guys. We want you guys to come out here, kind of socialize, do the same kind of thing Connor's talking about. Let's get together. So we're going to think about that. Maybe throw an event. Maybe throw a live podcast. Maybe do an interview.
Like a panel.
Yeah, panel discussion
Dude,
kind of thing.
I think that's an awesome idea. I was talking to some of our past guests too. Like, I asked them like, hey, if we threw on like a weekend 3-day event, would you come be a speaker for that? So we may bring some of these guests back and do we can either do like a networking event or do like a big deep 3-day just power
conference kind of thing. Yeah, with some workshops in there for you guys, young professionals. We're trying to kind of get a hold of this thing here. Yeah, we got some ideas, but please let us know. As Connor would say, give us your feedback.
Well said, my friend.
Yes,
well said.
Now back to you, Johnson.
It's so true, though. It's so hard to ask people like, hey, give me your blunt feedback. I got it from Steve. Paul, who was just kick-ass. Like, we went and got drinks again the other day.
Was he in this gap of 21 to 25?
He was, actually, I believe.
Recapping too.
I know, we need to keep doing that. Your life under construction. This is perfect
Great
transition, baby. Steve Paul, who he's brushed shoulders with some of the top influencers in the world.
Yeah.
Multi-millionaire. Does construction here in Denver. So we met up for drinks the other day, and he gave me some good feedback on the podcast. And I actually, I do this a lot without realizing it because I'm such a high energy, excited person.
Right.
That sometimes I'll be talking to a guest and they'll be going on a train of thought, and I want to keep myself from having this awkward pause in the podcast.
Of course, dead air is no. Producer standpoint, never dead air, please. But yeah. Stop.
I just wanted an awkward pause for effect. So, instead of kind of letting that person bring their thoughts and get deeper where they're going, I'll interject another question, or I'll put my comment in, or whatever. And sometimes it's good, but Steve made a good point about that as well. And so I'm gonna take that feedback and try to get better at because it's the same with sales. If you're just constantly talking, not letting that person go.
Oh man,
it's tough.
Same thing. Yeah, very true. Very good. Comparison there. Because especially with sales, I do that Monday through Friday. And that's one thing I always tell myself is, shut up, Julius, shut up, and just listen. That's what people want to do, is talk, and let them talk sometimes. So fair enough.
Tough skill to learn.
Yeah. I know one thing on my side is on the production level, is getting this video cuts better. I know you said something about Katie's, but I know there's a couple of these episodes. You're like, why is that guy shooting the ceiling, or where did that shot go over there for? And on a couple of those, so to make sure.
Yeah. Well, trying to make this fluent, you mean operating that?
Yeah, just when I cut camera shots, right now I'm on my face. You guys you gotta watch this on YouTube right now, Instagram, Facebook. You have no idea what we're talking about. But YouTube, we cut to different angles because we kind of produce the TV show, or the show as if it's a TV show.
Yeah.
So on all these different angles, I just want to make sure they're always crisp, so when we show you this content, you don't get lost like sometimes my fingers do.
Do you think we should just start uploading the full recordings to? Because we just don't even use our YouTube pages that much.
But you should, no.
Yeah, we have hours and hours of content, and we don't publish the full episodes. But I don't know how to I don't know how to grow a YouTube page. So if someone out there's good at that,
I got a guy.
Cool.
Mr. Pritchard, we'll reach out to him.
Oh yeah, we were gonna talk. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll
talk about that on episode 41.
Yeah, let's see. What else do we have in here? Oh, Keenan, dude.
Keenan.
Jim.
Guys, if there's an episode of my mentors that you have to listen to, and I'm not trying to, say all of them aren't worthy listening to. They all are great content in each one, but there's one to start with. I might say start with Jim Keenan. just the energy brought on that show was tremendous. Sorry, am I supposed to call him Keenan?
Yeah, don't call him Jim.
Yeah, see,
he'll lose his shit at you.
Keenan.
He literally texted me.
Sorry.
This is how hardcore this guy is. He's a great guy, but he's very just blunt, to the point.
My kind of guy.
Straight, hardcore kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So, we got everything. Like, I texted him, I sent him all the links. Like, hey, you're published, your episode's out there. He literally responded. Not even thanks, not like nothing. Just literally responded to me. Never refer to me as Jim again. Never. It's like, all right.
You didn't make that known in the beginning, but fair enough.
Yeah,
that's it.
like, all right. So
now you know.
Never refer. So if you go to Jim's Instagram, which his Instagram is Jim Keenan, so that mofo is just whatever.
He's got a brand though. If you see him in that shirt, that's the same guy.
Yep,
it's the same person. So he's really identifiable. But I mean, just to talk back about that episode, I mean, because you guys shot that at a conference hall
in my apartment complex.
Yeah, okay.
Which hasn't been a bad spot so far. Like the scenery was good. Like I posted that clip of us, and it had 20,000 views on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Shout out LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, you guys. Don't get them started talking about the LinkedIn. Don't get them. I almost brought it up.
Please do not talk about.
Do not have a LinkedIn page, and it's not up to date. As soon as we finish here, go finish that, or Connor Dube will be contacting you. Probably.
I'll be bugging the shit out of you. Which I'm working on building a product for more of. I work with high level like B2B, like really complex, but I'm trying to build out a product that'll help. Students that are interested in B2B marketing, like classroom, and then also like just other like more to the general public. So got some good stuff in the works over there. But Jim Keenan. So
talk about that.
If you look at if you look at and that's where B2B Live. Like I literally had an epiphany at that event, just being around all these great people, and I'm gonna build something in the company. It's gonna make me $50 million in the next couple of years.
That's how it goes.
So Keenan, if you look at his Instagram page, he just spoke on stage with Grant Cardone.
Wow. Really?
Who he was talking smack about on the podcast.
I remember that part.
I told him, I'm like, do not let GC listen to our podcast together.
Not that episode.
Not that episode. But maybe I should get a little controversy going, Yeah. Controversy equals attention. Attention equals money, people. That was a little hardcore.
That's a little hardcore.
That was a little shitty of me.
Yeah. We're mentors, people. We're mentors. We're bringing nothing but positivity. So, but what episode was that? 23, if I'm not.
I think that was 23. Yeah.
23,
or maybe 22. Let's see. 24.
24.
Wait, did we skip one as we're? Oh no. Oh yeah, because we had the podcast behind the podcast, which was 21. 22 was strong. Did we? 21, 22, 23. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then after that was Nicholas, How to Build a $1 Billion Body, which he has a podcast as well. Definitely recommend checking that out.
Check that out, guys. Tag him in that. I was going to say, how do you come up with these titles?
You like them?
I do. But I'm just curious what your thought process is. And is it like, do you hear something in the show as you're listening back to it and you're like, that's where I'm going to call it? Because, I mean, for you guys who, are listening, I don't really help Connor with the titles as far as that. I edit the podcast, I send that thing over to him usually late at night, and then I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning
and that shit's uploaded.
It's like, brand new mentors.
I really like the play on words type.
Oh, yeah.
So Keenan, his episode is titled "What's Not Taught About Being a Sales Badass."
Yeah,
and he has a top-selling book called "Not Taught."
Oh, okay.
So I worked that into there, and I just thought it was a cool attention grabbing.
And then you put badass in there, then that really got my attention. But even stuff like strong mind, strong body,
strong career.
Yeah,
that's
22.
That's Frankie's kind of encompassing premise behind his clients that he works with is strong mind, strong body, strong career. So that's I guess that one's pretty straightforward. Your life under construction. Well, Steve Paul is works in the construction business, and the stuff we talked about was really like life. I mean, like building your network and
attention to detail.
Kind of. How to build a $1 billion body. It's pretty straightforward, and like, you know, that if I was scrolling through podcasts, I'd be like, oh, you know, $1 million. Like everyone talks about being a millionaire, but billionaire. That's
okay. Yeah. $1 billion body club. Yeah, okay, I see where you're going there.
My friend and I joke, like, being a millionaire isn't cool anymore. It's all about billionaire status. It's so possible. It's so doable. Like,
that's true.
We have access to more people, more information. Building a $1 billion company is not outrageous.
Yeah, and that's really what's that's the it thing. You make $1 million, it's like, okay, you follow the rules. Good job.
So being
as if I made $1 million.
Hey man, someday we keep doing what we're doing, man. You never know. All it takes that's the same thought process about putting content out there and like doing my marketing content and putting out this stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking to one of the questions I get a lot is like, oh, I want to do video vlog or video content or whatever, and like, and I don't produce this for clients, but they're just like, what do I do? Like, where do I start? What do I talk about? How often do I do it? And I'm like, stop concerning yourself with all the details. Just put yourself out there and refine as you go along. Right. Just take action on it, because consistency is 100 times more important than anything, I believe, today, because people are so busy. Right. They're bombarded by noise all the time. So I sincerely believe consistency is one of the most important things. And so going back to like us, all it takes is that one piece of content. Yeah. That one piece. I think about this every day. That one thing could just blow us up tomorrow.
Facts. That's why we do what we do. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, not even just for the tangible result of the viability of, something like that, but this is valuable content that should, really expand and really kind of transcend cultures and age barriers and all these kind of things. So, yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, man, and it's something to think about every day. Yeah, that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's why we're trying to bring you this content and this valuable insight, because at the end of the day, this is what you're not getting anywhere else.
Yeah, and bring it to you in a way that's super tangible, too, I think is important, because
very true.
There's a shit ton of podcasts out there, right? Yeah. A shit ton of vlogs. There's lots of media. Like, anyone can be a media producer today. It's super easy. It's inexpensive.
Anybody can come where we're at.
Anyone can come to Dom, produce content here.
Yeah.
So that's why I love this platform, because it's super niche. And for people that are listening in Colorado, these people that you're listening to on the podcast are right in your backyard. They're accessible. They're tangible. And on the flip side of that, I really believe the best way to change the world and make an impact is you got to start local.
Facts. Yep.
Start in a focused... And local means a lot of things, like niche. Start in a niche, because too many people try to be anything and everything to everybody. Mm-hmm. But how can you really help more people if you're not like... If
actually focused on...
If you're not focused on a key area that you can actually make an impact in, and then scale out.
And I even think that goes back to that tangibility. Being local means you're around. This is your neighbors that we're influencing. These are the people that you're driving next to in traffic that we bring on this podcast, and that are getting you out to San Diego and you're rubbing elbows at a black tie party. These are the same people. So I think that's just really what we're trying to show people, and that's what's kind of invaluable, is that like if you're loyal to this brand and you're following this podcast since episode 2 or 3 to where we are now at 31,
some major stuff has happened.
Major stuff has happened, and if you actually took the extra step, like Connor's saying, and put some action into this and hit up any one of our guests or visited their websites or try to do business with any of these guys, I'm sure they reached out. I'm sure you probably had a good something to say about them. You know, at
you guys
least
can
a majority.
access Bill Gates if you really want. You guys can access Warren Buffett. All you got to do is actually take the action to do it. But back to the focus thing, like I live in Rhino, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the example of a gentrified neighborhood.
Facts.
Like I've, even being in Denver for the last several years, it was tent city in where my apartment is right now. It was total tent city. Like even when I first moved over there and they started putting those units in, the whole street was lined up with tent city homeless folks. And also the Salvation Army is literally, so like there's a Core Power Yoga the corporate office is like right around the corner from my building.
Okay.
And then Salvation Army is right down the street.
Yeah.
So here's something interesting. Like I could go out and try to donate or like volunteer or do some sort of like fundraiser and like something that impacts some nonprofit that's like a national nonprofit. But I practice what I preach. So I literally walked down the street to the Salvation Army down there, walked in there. I'm like, what do you guys need? We have a pretty well-recognized podcast in Colorado. It's grown really quick. Yeah. I'm connecting up with a lot of local resources. You guys are right here down the street. I see all these homeless people walking around. They're sleeping outside. They're struggling, man. So I walked in there. I'm like, what do you guys need? So I'm working with them right now to see how we can bring some resources into that location there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of goes back to the conference. Maybe we could throw some charity events in there, kind of help those guys out. But yeah, it just goes back to the network that we're really trying to build with this Mile High Mentors thing. It's bigger than me and you. And we know that, and that's why we're trying to really get you guys to be engaged with this, to come out and give us your feedback, give us suggestions on who you want to see on the podcast, and really get in touch with the people that we've brought on the podcast because they're trying to do the same thing. They're really trying to help.
Look at how creepy this is. Like my face is like on the Facebook feed.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Oh wow! That's kind of horrifying.
Am I the same? Nope.
I feel like I'm tripping out, man.
Sorry, Instagram, YouTube.
Sorry,
Facebook's a little bit slower.
I'm ADHD.
No, you got me off my soapbox there. I appreciate that.
No. So, I think it's really important.
Yeah, no, it really is, though. But all I can say is just get engaged, guys. This is where you want to go to if you're really trying to elevate your career, if you're really trying to engage with the young professionals, and even engage with the older professionals out there who could show you how to do what you're doing right now better or maybe differently, or maybe even give you some feedback on ways that you could change it up. So, just get engaged. That's all I can really say. Just try to get engaged. And I'm going to get more engaged, too, as far as I can get this little junior of mine.
Yeah, got a baby, man. Again, but like, how you're in an airplane and they say put your oxygen mask on before your child or anybody else around you.
Yeah.
It's the same with life, and I hear this from everybody, is that people feel that it's bad to be selfish.
Uh-huh.
I almost said shellfish.
Okay, that's where you were going.
Bad being selfish, but again, it goes back to the oxygen mask. Like if I sincerely cannot help myself grow and find resources for myself and the people closest around me, like how can I go change the world? Like how could I go help the world if I truly cannot even impact myself? And I see so many peers fall into this, like they're they're concerned about homeless people or children in need and like all this different stuff, but like they can't even help themselves. So like how the hell could you really make an impact for somebody else's life if you truly, and this is an unpopular opinion, but
that's
I live by this.
Dead true, guys. That's right between the eyes of truth right there. You got to help yourself if you want to help anybody else. One of my favorite lines from Jay-Z is, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them, so I got rich and gave back. To me, that's the win-win. And that's just, right between the eyes of truth. Like, you got to help yourself.
Dude, Bill Gates
got to help yourself first.
Is giving half of his money away.
Yeah.
Billions and billions of dollars. You don't think that guy's... do you think that guy, when he was young and, like, barely making it, was able to give that exponentially.
Well, even think about a young Bill Gates. You think he went into a contract negotiation, shaving off a couple dollars here and there for the guy? No.
Wait, what?
Think about Bill Gates being selfish, taking it back to when he was first building.
Oh, yeah.
And everything,
Right.
He charged what he was worth, and he got what he was worth, and he was aggressive about that. And you have to be that way because you got to get what you deserved. You got to be selfish
and don't undervalue yourself.
Yeah, don't undervalue. Don't feel bad about it. Like I said, it's not a popular opinion, but to be selfish, it's necessary. And if you're not being selfish, that means somebody's taking advantage of you. Just that simple.
So, Blake Burrows, which, dude, I wish you were able to meet Blake.
I know.
He's
There's a couple of these guys I miss because of the baby stuff. But
dude, he wants to get into a speaking career at some point. So I actually know Blake from high school, which was really cool. Like, he total definition of an entrepreneur. But what's interesting about Blake is, like, he drove this really sexy car throughout high school.
Okay.
But so people kind of saw him as, like, because his dad was a really successful entrepreneur, and people saw Blake as like someone who was, like, given everything, right? You know what I mean? Like, kind of spoiled. Not the case. This dude at age 18, his own money, his own funding. His dad couldn't help him with his business in any way because he actually had this non-compete from his other company that he sold off. And so Blake started building this business, which is now Top Shelf Embroidery, which is beautiful location, by the way. It's in Greeley, which
I need to visit that guy. Seriously,
dude, he's an awesome guy. So I watched him start his entrepreneurial journey like in high school, which was really cool. And now he has close to a $4 million a year business. And he's going to do $4 million this year, and from scratch, no help, no funding from his parents.
Yeah, I remember even on the podcast he talked about him and his friend putting up that loan to kind of stick their necks out there, like, dude, we got payroll, and other entrepreneurs know that story. When you got the payroll coming and the invoices are stacking up, and you got to make a decision. And he's talking about, I think he said selling his car. Is that what he did?
Him and his partner had payroll coming up, and they literally sold their car to make payroll.
Yeah.
And they traded it in for like a newer model where they're going to have these monthly payments, but they could defer payments for 30 days. So they lit a fire under their ass to sell, to make these payments, and they sacrificed their comfortability to make payroll for that month for their employees.
Yeah, that's real boss shit.
That's some real boss shit.
That's what it's about, guys. And if you guys don't understand that, I mean, you really gotta start listening to more podcasts, more of this Smile Mentor stuff. That's definition of what it's about. You gotta take that chance, and that kind of goes back to that being open-mindedness again. You got to make the payroll. You got to find a way. You're not quite sure if this is going to work out, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to put some action behind it.
Creativity. Pain creates creativity, but people are so uncomfortable about getting in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah.
I'm in a family business right now. Like, I do all the business development for our family company. My salary is probably mostly less than the majority of our employees. My salary. So I have to sell to feed myself and to be successful. Yeah. And I have so much respect for Blake and like his story, because like that's some hardcore shit, man. It takes some balls to do that.
Really,
for a company. But his episode, being a top shelf entrepreneur, is all in the family. So now they have this great business, and like his entire family works in the business right now, or a large majority of his family works in the business right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is still good, right? I'm just so, because you're not watching it. I'm always like, don't make that face.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right.
Like, as long as nobody touches anything over there, we should be good. There's nobody else in here. So.
Casper the Ghost. I'm just so paranoid about that. Like, it's so funny too when I am doing these on my own, and when you're busy. Like when I went and did Dell's, like I have this laptop actually I've been using to do this.
Okay.
Plugged in, and like I start sketching the guest out because every like few minutes I'm like looking over, I'm looking at my cell phone to make sure we're recording. I'm looking back at this. I'm like wiggling the mouse and like mid conversation just to make sure like if we miss that content, that would be fucking horrible. So.
I hear you. That's why I don't do podcasts. That's why I'm not a host. That's why that's why, man. You can't do it by yourself, but you've been doing it by yourself. Like I said, kudos to you, man, because you got some great episodes out for us.
Well, I sincerely believe like you just got to, like, no matter what, got to keep the train rolling.
Show must go on.
Show must go on. I'd rather stay consistent and be imperfect than like everything's perfect in place. You know, I screwed up. Like even if you build it, they will come. Like Dell, our most recent episode 29. Who I did in his studio, like we started recording and I accidentally adjusted the gain and it threw the audio off. So it sounded great in the beginning and then it cut. So you had when you edited it, you probably had to bring the levels back up.
Yeah.
So just small stuff like that. But I'm not going to let that ruin anything. And I got some really good feedback from that one, by the way. Really,
from Delroy?
From Del. Del DeWright.
Sorry,
Del DeWright. So like one of his first big deals was $25 million.
Wow.
And we talk about how like they literally overcame these giants, these other like real estate gurus, and they won that deal over with the bank. It was really badass. So what's funny is I actually ran into him at the gala event last night.
Really?
At the Black Tie event, yeah.
Yeah, look at this network that's happening.
Yeah, and he's a good-looking dude. Like, the women were all, the women... Yeah. I saw him, too. I'm like, I didn't recognize him at first. And, dude, Del, you could be a freaking supermodel, man. You're a good-looking dude.
I tell you.
I'm not afraid to say that. What's that?
I said his clip on Instagram's getting a lot of love.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
people like that.
And on LinkedIn, it got a couple thousand views. So, and I got feedback from his episode. They loved like such a genuine guy. 700-person company at this point in time. 700-person company. That's pretty legit.
That's a big size company. Yeah.
And he's super humble and like just let all this raw stuff out in the podcast, which was really cool.
Yeah, it seemed like a really honest and open conversation. It's kind of crazy to me sometimes that it's your first time meeting these people or really interacting with them face to face sometimes, because the conversations don't sound like that, and I think that goes to show the power of being face to face and really just the power of the podcast. We're not trying to be up in your face and make this like a news interview. We're just trying to have a quick conversation. Not necessarily quick, but a good conversation.
Deep conversation.
Yeah, deep conversation.
Yeah.
About how your life has gone and how your career is going.
Yeah, that's why this format kind of fit with us, because growing up, I always had this weird, not to like brag about myself, but like I've had this weird skill with people where I can just make people feel comfortable and they share stuff with me for whatever reason. I don't know, it's my energy or whatever, but they just share deep things that they don't talk about with other people, which is really interesting. And I always thought like that's how people talk to everyone, and I found out I have this like unique skill. So I'm able to bring that to the podcast and get these really high level people kind of getting a little deeper into the midst of everything.
Ask them questions they might not normally get, especially talking about their upbringing. But take it back a little bit. Talk about Juan Blanco.
The legend Juan Blanco.
Everybody on Instagram, you need to follow Juan Blanco. You should listen to this podcast as soon as we finish here. You're not doing Instagram right. You're not doing any of it right until you listen to that podcast.
Yeah, 200,000 followers, I think, built from scratch. Blogging organically, blogging from Huffington Post, Entrepreneur, Inc. magazine. And yeah, he's a really, really nice guy. I really enjoyed meeting with him, and so like
John White is his
John White. Yeah, John White. Now Juan Blanco, I just thought it was such a good title, like a good
Legend
name.
of Juan Blanco.
The Legend of Juan Blanco, because he lived in Spain for a little while, and so you have to go back and listen to the story. I don't want to give it all away.
Yeah.
But he lived in Spain, and so his family or whatever people he was living with called him Juan Blanco, so John White. and I just thought it was really badass to put in the legend of Juan Blanco. And we gotta have
clickbait right there.
Yeah, it was like over an hour of content there of us just sitting in our office up in Fort Collins, and it's just a really interesting guy.
Yeah, another guy, unfortunately, I couldn't meet, because of my situations and all that. But definitely a good podcast. That's one I've listened to. I think I'm on the second time listening to that guy. Just trying to really get that social media stuff down and just kind of really understand how he grew his presence to be so big. Of course, the blogs and stuff help, but, there's little things that he was talking about in there that, again, I'm not trying to give it all away, guys, but little things in there that you guys should pick up and really start adopting.
But guarantee, one of the biggest takeaways, again, just validates consistency. Yeah. It's like I just sat down and started blogging and producing content and putting it out there, and it just cycled upon itself and just built and built and built. And
don't look at the rear view, just keep going forward. Yeah. Just do it.
When I first started building my personal brand on LinkedIn, like I'd post something and get maybe like 20 views, 100 views on it. No engagements, no likes, no comments. That went on for almost several months of me just consistently putting stuff. And then all of a sudden, people are liking my stuff.
Yeah.
People are like...
And you got a comment.
And I got a comment. And then I got a share. Now I have other people promoting my content. And I have other people showcasing me. And when I post something, I'll get several hundred views, several thousand views on it. And it just starts with going after it. Like really going after it, man.
So where are we at on the list?
I'm glad you got to
anybody?
Glad you got to listen to Heather.
Oh, Heather, yeah. I got to meet her. That was a good episode too.
Love Heather.
Oh man, she deals with a lot of high level businesses and their management as far as the way they relate to other departments. So if you have a department that's not really agreeing with this other department. Say X isn't agreeing with Y and it's affecting the way Z works, she comes in and solves all of that. So just to kind of hear the way that she manages the managers or, kind of deals with those in and outs as far as, just really dealing with those high-level people because they're tough people that say you're doing this wrong or you need to take a step down or you should fire that guy even. And for her to come in and kind of be that superwoman, if you will, for your business to kind of set things straight is pretty amazing. Plus, her family story was pretty interesting too.
Yeah, creating a successful MLM, multi-level marketing. That's a tough business where you got to sell other people to sell for you.
Yeah,
that's a tough bit, and they pay for it to be involved generally. So like. If you can do it, more power to you. That's a real tough business to be successful in because people see like the multi-level marketing as a bad thing or a negative thing, but there's lots of millionaires and billionaires that are created.
People are doing it.
I listened to a podcast with Grant Cardone and I can't remember his name, guys, but he was on Power Players, which was on his show. If you go to Cardone's Zone, but this guy has built 2 multi-billion-dollar companies already. He's building his third.
Okay.
He literally, Transamerica, or like other financial services businesses where people recruit other financial. I'm gonna totally botch this, but no. More individual, like financial reps, like retirement or like
financial advisors.
Yeah. Financial advisors. So he literally created that model of recruiting other people to sell for you.
Oh, okay.
Which is the network marketing kind of model. How did we get on that? Heather. So, but Heather, like, yeah, it's interesting the customer experience and also employee experiential stuff. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. It's definitely worth going back to listen to. Long story short, just click play. That's all I can say, man.
Yeah.
I do it on my way home from work. That's my my best time to listen to our show is just, I'm coming through that 5 p.m. traffic. I just click that on and think about my day, think about my profession, think about things I can do better, think about things I want to obtain in life. And Mile High Mentors is just a good, solid hour of staying in that mind state. And it's really good for you.
And fun.
We have fun too, yeah.
If a lot of other, like if these guests come onto a news media source, they're generally these dry interviews, you know what I mean? And so what's fun about these is we get an opportunity to just really bring out more conversational rather than like the interview style stuff that you generally see. And
and that's why it's really special thing that we're doing here, Connor Dube.
I know, man. I'm loving it. I'm going back and forth. I have so many guests lined up, and the challenge is still the logistics of doing everything in person. And, you know, I'm considering maybe doing some remote interviews with other people that are local, just to get more episodes out there, get more content going. I don't know. I feel like there's certain guests that I might have to make that exception on.
Yeah.
But who knows? Tell us what you guys like. Tell us what the video. We wouldn't get as good a video content from there, but maybe we'll be able to get more guests on the show, and that will make a difference. Make us grow faster. But yeah.
I mean,
I know.
That's something we can definitely talk about. But at the end of the day, you, the follower, you. No, seriously though. Give us your
Instagram
feedback.
looks like you guys are ending. By the way, you can listen to this live here shortly, and we're gonna upload a new episode today or tomorrow
or soon, probably today.
Okay. Got to get Katie out there.
Yeah. But if not, just make sure you go back and listen to all of the past episodes. Of course, we're on iHeartRadio. Just type in that Mile High Mentors. You can do it like all together. Or you can even put spaces in there. I tried both and they both work. So, just Mile High Mentors.
iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and YouTube.
Hey.
Hey.